Good morning, students. In this chapter, From Trade to Territory, we have seen till now how the British East India Company came to India as a small trading company with the prime objective of expansion of trade. But over the years, they realized that for their trade to flourish uninterrupted and on their own terms, they needed to acquire territories. So they devised policies which helped them acquire full authority over the administration of their territories. Warren Hastings, the first Governor General, introduced several administrative reforms which helped in setting up a new administration. During his time as Governor General from 1773 to 1785, the company had acquired power not only in Bengal but also in Bombay and Madras. British territories were broadly divided into administrative units called presidencies. Can you please underline this in the book? The tenure of Warren Hastings from 1773 to 1785, it's given in the very first line, till the presidencies. There were three presidencies: Bengal, Madras and Bombay, each ruled by a governor. The supreme head of the administration was the Governor General. Warren Hastings introduced several notable reforms in the sphere of justice. A new system of justice was established. Each district was to have two courts, a criminal court known as the Faujdari Adalat and a civil court known as Diwani Adalat. Please underline those two things in the second paragraph. And the year also 1772. Maulvis and Hindu Pandits interpreted Indian laws for the European district collector who presided over civil courts. The criminal courts were still under a Qazi, also known as a judge, and a Mufti, but under the supervision of the collectors. So you can underline those things: Qazi, Mufti, impeachment. These can come for defining. And the Qazis or the Muftis or Hindu Pandits, they had been asked to interpret the Indian laws. Why? Because the Europeans did not know about the culture and traditions of the Indian people. So till the time they needed the help of these Maulvis and Hindu Pandits, they used to engage them. But there were some problems in these interpretations by the Brahman Pandits, as they gave different interpretations of local laws based on different schools of Dharma Shastras. So in 1775, to bring about uniformity, 11 Pandits were asked to compile a digest of Hindu laws. In 1775, N.B. Halhed translated this digest into English. Please underline those things over there. There can be a question: who translated the digest compiled by Hindu Pandits in English? So the name is important: N.B. Halhed. Muslim law was also compiled in similar way in 1778. Underline that part also. A new Supreme Court was established under the Regulating Act of 1773. A Court of Appeal, the Sadar Nizamat Adalat, was also set up at Calcutta. Please underline those things. The collector was the principal figure in an Indian district. In his district, his main job was to collect revenue and taxes and maintain law and order with the help of judges, police officers and darogas. His office was also called the Collectorate, which became the new center of power and patronage, and it gradually replaced the previous holders of authority. A few things to be underlined there also. So his job was to maintain law and order, collect taxes and revenues from the people with the help of judges, police officers and darogas. And there were certain other changes in the company army. As warfare technology changed from the 1820s, the company army had to keep pace with changing military requirements. Now the infantry regiment became more important as the soldiers were armed with muskets and matchlocks. So the meaning of muskets and matchlocks is given there. Even Savar, Dharmashastras, all for short answer questions. Musket, a heavy gun used by infantry soldiers, and matchlock, an early type of gun in which the powder was ignited by a match. Earlier, during the Mughals, the army was mainly composed of cavalry or the Savars, trained soldiers on horseback, and infantry, that is the Paidal soldiers, the one on foot. They were given training in archery and the use of sword. But what happened as times changed? The soldiers were now armed with muskets and matchlocks. In the early 19th century, the British began to develop a uniform military culture. Soldiers were increasingly subjected to European-style training. Now drill and discipline regulated their life far more than before. But this created problems since caste and community feelings were ignored in building a force of professional soldiers. As you very well know, in India with its diverse culture and with many castes and subcastes, religious beliefs and practices, the individuals could not easily give up their caste and religious feelings. All of these differences and many more resulted in the revolt of 1857, about which we will study in chapter 5. By 1857, the company came to exercise direct rule over about 63% of the territory, and about 78% of the population of Indian subcontinent was under company rule. Thus, we see that the East India Company was transformed from a trading company to a territorial colonial power and had virtually the whole of India under its control. So now we can underline a few things there. The last paragraph, 63%. Then again in the army part we can underline uniform military culture. It's given on page number 22, last line. So with this we come to the end of the chapter. I hope you've understood. Please read the chapter. I'm telling you time and again, read the chapter. You'll understand it better. And some questions to be answered, like define musket, matchlock, savar, dharmashastras, qazi, mufti, impeachment. All these things are given in the book. And the question answer and exercises of the book we'll deal in the next video. Thank you.